Francis Ngannou signed a contract with the Professional Fighters League (PFL) on May 16, several months after leaving the UFC in bad terms. He is a rare fighter in MMA, a fighter who left the UFC while still a true champion. Ngannou is the UFC heavyweight champion. However, he disagrees with the UFC regarding the future of combat sports. When Francis Ngannou's contract with the PFL was announced, the reaction was mediocre. Yes, it is very profitable and has some interesting perks, such as an equity role in PFL's expansion into its home continent, Africa. But for MMA fans, this was met with skepticism. Ngannou won't fight in the PFL for almost a year, and there's no clear, well-known opponent for him on the roster. He has not fought in MMA since January 2022. A phrase began to appear on social media. Fans feel that Francis Ngannou, based on a quote from UFC CEO Dana White, turned down money that would have made him the highest-paid heavyweight fighter in UFC history. Many said that Ngannou was fumbling in the pocket. In other words, he had the opportunity to earn an incredible amount of money and throw it out the window. One day, people will stop doubting Ngannou, the man who left the squalor of his native Cameroon and overcame time in a Spanish prison and homelessness on the streets of Paris to achieve sporting glory. Maybe that day was Saturday, after one of the most incredible performances in combat sports history. Francis Ngannou lost by split decision in his boxing match against Tyson Fury, the lineal world heavyweight boxing champion, and only lost on record. Ngannou, making his professional boxing debut, knocked Fury out with a left hook in the third round and stood and boxed with one of the greatest boxers of all time until the final bell rang in the 10th round, almost pulling off an upset. Fury barely won on paper. Ngannou appeared calm and strategic, switching to a southpaw stance midway through the match. He is not the hard puncher that fans are used to seeing in many of his UFC fights. Ngannou boxed with skill, finesse and intelligence, clearly surprising Fury on several occasions with how good he was and how much he had prepared. Trainers Francis Ngannou, Eric Nicksick and Dewey Cooper, and, of course, Mike Tyson also deserve a lot of credit. Fury isn't showing them anything they haven't trained for. In an era where MMA stars are having a hard time beating YouTuber Jake Paul in boxing, Ngannou has come close to beating the best heavyweight on the planet. Fury suffered cuts and bruises on his face afterwards. Ngannou has no scars. It was one of the most amazing performances in boxing history. While there have been many hyperbolic statements made this week in Saudi Arabia, this is not among them.